All right, guys, mic check.
FPL.
Okay, Ricky, mic.
Yep, I am ready.
Willie, mic check.
Yep, let's go.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're live.
Okay, and go for it, guys.
All right, here we go, and we are now live. It is 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific time, and 8 p.m. Canal Zone time. Happy hour at the Balboa Yacht Club. Ricky, it's still the holiday, so Merry Christmas to you and Happy Friday.
Merry Christmas, yes. And Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Willie, we're not going to start about how great our technical stuff has been all week because we're going to jinx
we don't
it.
want to jinx that, man.
So let's just go straight to it. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to our podcast, Happy Hour at the Balboa Yacht Club. As you guys know, every week we're on here on every Friday at this time. It's a podcast that's all about the Panama Canal, its history, its towns, its founder, its people, a.k.a. Zonians. Or like if you guys that watch YouTube and watch the latest on Johnny Harris, he likes to call us zoners. So anyways, guys, here's a toast to the eighth wonder of the world.
Salute. Absolutely.
Our last show of the year. Salute. It's a wrap-up show.
Yes, it is. End of the year, end of the month, end of all that good stuff. But hey, fear not. Next week we'll be back again, and Dave also will be joining us, starting a new Canal Zone history show. So yes, year 3 of our, or not quite year 3, but close enough, I guess.
Close enough, yeah. We'll be starting our third year.
But
yeah, some of the big dates coming up, guys, for this month really are just the handover. I mean, the invasion already passed, but the handover's next, which is the 31st. And then January 9th is another big day in the zone called Flag Riots, the Flag Riot Days.
Absolutely. We're definitely going to have some coverage on that because that's a really, really big deal, and we've got some stories to tell on that. But So, Ricky, you have a good Christmas. I understand you drove down south a little bit.
I did. I got to see Violet's son, Drexel. Cool little kid. He's kind of a big kid for his age. And, of course, I went to Big Bear for a little bit. Got to feel some snow. But it didn't stick on the ground. It was coming down, but it melting immediately. And then I got on the road yesterday and got back to San Francisco, and here we are without missing a beat. Yes.
Yeah, Christmas was a little bit different this time. It was interesting. But nonetheless, it was still, as always, Christmas is always a great time. You get together with friends and family and do all that stuff.
Kind of quiet.
Kind of wrap up the year and take stock of the great year and see what's in store for the following year,
26, 26.
Of course, it's always better to celebrate Christmas with Zonians, whether in person or at the Balboa Yacht Club. Jim and Diane, Merry Christmas. Yes, Santa did bring some nice gifts.
I did. I got
one
some
shirt, so it was kind of cool.
Yeah, I got a cool pillow, those engineer pillows that form to your weight.
Oh, right on.
And I got a Sonic toothbrush thing, and I got some sweaters. Yeah, I did good. A typical underwear, socks that you always get from.
Yeah, this year was first grandbaby was this year, so that obviously was the focus. Santa, the sled was lopsided a little bit because one side had all of Jude's gifts, and then everybody else, those fit in the glove box. In the sled, it was, the bulk of it was definitely his, but nonetheless, it's always a good time, and Christmas is always a great time. You want to talk about being nostalgic with Christmas and going back to the zone. Mark Cicero has a great song out there, Christmas in the Isthmus, Christmas in the Canal Zone. Fantastic song, some great imagery, some great videos and stuff on it, but it really does take you back to, all those really cool things in the zone because you know what, I guess technically, and there's Dave, our historian, who can maybe chime in on this. 2 historians back-to-back chiming in here. Nodier Garcia, our Panama Railroad historian, and Dave Dahlstrom, our Canal Zone historian. So I think, and I'm going to venture to say that unofficially, the 26th of December kicks off the Christmas tree season. And if you know what we're talking about in the zone, the Christmas tree season.
Well, I thought it was more like around January.
Well, but people start to take down their you know what, especially your Panamanians, your Catholics for sure. They'll wait until January 6th, Three Kings Day, to then take the trees down. But some people will start taking them down, right after Christmas. So,
But you are right. You are right. The race does start today, man.
You start
Everybody in
seeing-
their new bicycles
you do.
and their new
you
clothes.
start peeling
yeah.
your eyes out. You start looking around in the houses. You'll see a tree come out in the garbage there, and they start to show up, and that's a really, really big deal, and it is covered in that song really well because
Yeah,
guys,
I would
let
say
me tell
this
you
is
what,
the
man.
week where territories are finally established.
yes, yeah.
You
is
pass
all the
this one and-
pre-battle meetings, right? All the
yeah,
negotiations,
yeah.
man, and setting all the ground rules, which
Yeah,
of course
yeah.
are broken the first day.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, that's
And if you do break the rules, at least in our neighborhood, you got beamed with those almonds. Remember those almonds that you couldn't eat?
Yeah.
Remember those round things?
yes.
Yeah, you will get beamed by those if you
What
came
was the other
anywhere
one? The
near
little
our
hot
stash.
beans. Remember the hot beans? They used to take and scrape them on the ground.
Yeah, those are the ones. Almonds. The ones they call almonds?
Okay,
I thought they were called
I guess.
almonds.
I always thought them as hot beans, but yeah, maybe they're one and the same. But look at Dave. Trees barely had any needles by the 20. No doubt, man. Yeah, man. No doubt. Remember, those things were okay. Those were not freshly cut, put on a truck, and a week later they were at their destination. Those things had to be cut, put on a truck, driven to a port, put on a ship, and then brought down to Panama.
Yeah.
So yeah, no.
I remember,
kidding,
I
man.
remember we would water them down, spray them,
Yeah,
and all
you
that
had to,
stuff.
man. You had
They
to, man, but,
leave a big trail of.
But that really was the deal, man.
eels,
There was,
yeah.
I know the Fishbow's house in La Boca. That was a big
Yep.
tree place. That backyard was a tree place. I'm trying to think in Gavlin. Who was it in Gavlin that would keep trees back there?
Jerry Curtis,
Jerry Curtis,
Donald
had
Simon, the Earharts. That was that
yes,
gang.
the Earharts did. Yes, the Earharts did as well, and because theirs butted back to that big back fence where the road to the bridge and now Bridge of the Americas and all that. Yeah, that was cool, man. That was a really good time. That really was a true Zonian tradition in the true sense of the word, because again, the Canal Zone community was so accessible, right? It was so small that you could really get on your bikes from Balboa and ride to La Boca or ride to Gavlin, to Ancon and Diablo and stuff. So, it wasn't uncommon to see somebody going down Section I on a bicycle pulling two trees from Diablo heading back to Balboa. They went on a Lone Ranger ride to get a tree or something. But good times indeed, man. Good times indeed with that. So, Rich, Merry Christmas to you as well, man. Absolutely, it's fun times. It's holidays are almost over though, and but next year, in fact, being that the first of the year is around the corner there, Dave, maybe you can give us a little hint, a little teaser of what you'll
Rick
be
Rivera.
covering for next week in our Canal Zone history. Hey, good to see you, Rick.
Yeah, we
had
got some
one-
new software that can do some cool stuff. You'll see a little bit tonight.
Yeah, some good stuff out there. We even fool around with it a little bit.
Yeah, Ancon were mafiosos because they were on the top. So, getting up to Ancon, you really couldn't ride your bike up. You could ride up partially, and then you had to walk, right?
Right, yes.
So you guys had an advantage up there in Ancon.
Yeah, now let me ask you this. So would you rather be running with trees uphill, or would you rather raid houses in Ancon, because you can go downhill pulling a tree and you got a better chance of getaway there than the other way around?
No, I remember the Ancon kids were tough, man. You never mess with
Because,
the Ancon kids.
you could listen, because I remember we could take our bikes and go by the admin and pull around that, because remember, it had that whole driveway all the way around it. Get to the front and you go down those hills and you're in Balboa with your trees, man.
Well, they had Dave Millard, the Conovers,
They did. Yeah,
Pat
listen,
Shea.
yeah,
they had some
listen,
tough boys up there, the Riveras.
We had a good group though in El Prado and Balboa. That whole Balboa Barnaby quadrant there, there was some heavy hitters there too.
Yep.
But
So,
I
you
think
know what? Till today, Willie, they're still having the tree burn. So that part of the
Yeah.
Canal Zone has not gone away.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you remember the 3-foot trees that had a container attached to the base and would blow up? I don't remember. I have the 3-inch or 3-foot trees, I guess. I would had a container attached to the base and it blow. That's cool, man. I do recall something at the end of it where it would, where there was almost like the grand finale, I guess. And I don't know, man. That's interesting. I have to go back and check that one out.
Yeah,
I wish
seen-
that's the one thing that we did miss out in the zone was, had we had the era of cell phones with cameras, we would have so much footage of the zone. Now, we got pictures, of course, but video, very few videos out there. Certainly fortunately, folks like Bud Tristano, that actually went down to the zone station.
Oh, they're
at
out
Howard.
there. They're out there. The
You know.
videos are out there.
But they are. But it's just few and far between. But it would be, like nowadays, you're in the cell phone age. There's nothing that's not on video or an image somewhere in the world. Everything is captured now.
But our age group says that's a good thing.
Yes. Agreed. Well, and there's something I guess fun about the nostalgia.
Yeah.
That you can kind of relive it and whatnot. At the end, we all brought our trees to the same thing. It was, exactly.
Yeah.
It really was. If you were either in Cardenas, which was, I guess, where your Diablo, Los Rios folks and whatnot, but the Balboa and Con La Boca folks, Gatlin, that was over by the Abu Sad temple, right? Where the training center was.
The concrete, yeah.
Yeah, they had a big concrete area there. That was right by the train station. That was cool, man. Yeah, good times there, man. So... Anyway,
Well, Merry Christmas, everybody. Hope everybody got everything they wanted and gave to the grandkids everything they wanted.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, man. It's fun when it becomes that age where you're not expecting or wanting gifts anymore. You enjoy giving them, right? You enjoy watching the kids smile, the grandkids smile, and it just makes it all worthwhile at that
Drexel got a Rush shirt, 4 months old. He's already in the Rush.
Nice, absolutely. Yes, that's definitely by train. It was, the training center. Right by the Abu Sad temple. Yeah. That was a good place there. And that's, remember, across the street from that, they had the big warehouse there that burned down. Remember the Kane Brothers warehouse? Right on.
Oh, yeah. On the Albrook Airport side.
Yes.
Yeah.
Massive.
Wow,
fire.
I can't believe I remember that. Yeah, right across the street.
Yeah.
That almost disappeared from my memory.
Yeah, well, it disappeared in one night when that thing caught fire, man. Yeah. And I remember I've seen pictures around of it, and it was... just a huge... that place was a big warehouse. It was a big warehouse to begin with, man. And that was the one that was right next to the library, and whatnot.
If you're facing it on the left.
Yes, exactly. That was it. So when you're driving there on Croton Street, the trees were stored in the valley behind the wooden 2-story duplexes. There was some spots that were known as the places you could find trees. And you did stay on guard, man. That was part of the gig.
Yeah, It was either if you had the up and downs. Now we know what up and downs are. If you had an up and down, it would go on the ledge, that little roof over the front door.
Correct.
So like you had it on your video
on the backyard.
And then us guys in Catanzaro, Reinhardt's, Hewsom's. If you remember Morgan Avenue, there was a houses, and then there was a split in the houses, and there was like a little bit of a jungle going up in there.
Right.
Okay, we would stash them back in there. That was another one of our good spots.
And that's to get natural camouflage.
Yeah.
But then after about a week or two later, you drive by there, and all of a sudden you notice, wait, what is that big brown spot over there by those bushes? They're all dried out now. The trees all go brown and everything. But yeah, that was a good times, man. That was when it was fun to have a bicycle and be in the zone. And dude, life was good, man. Life was good.
When we had banana seats.
Yeah, right. You could tie the rope to the back of it. Yeah. Man.
All right, Willie, man. Some good reminiscing. Well, that's what this show's all about, guys. And it is Christmas, man. Really we're here to bring you Canal Zone memories.
But you're also going to get a lot of Canal Zone memories from the Canal Zone reunion coming up in January. Rick's got some announcements about that here. So,
SCN Television presents K Pasa. And now here's this evening's host, Army Sergeant Bob Foster.
Good evening and welcome to K-Pasa. We've got two guests tonight. First Sergeant First Class Jim Webb. Sergeant Webb's with the 227th Military Police Detachment. He's the Kennel Master.
There you go.
That's iconic Zonian announcement there. Guys, we got the Canal Zone reunion right around the corner. I would say, a month, right? Just less than a month. But, we've all been in... Yeah, less than a month. We've all been informed of all the great activities and the train and the this and the that. But one thing that we don't really talk about, but I've always kept my eyes on it, it's the Canal Zone Music Festival that is attached to all the activities. Let's call it the Lollapalooza of the Canal Zone reunion.
Right on.
It's known as the Canal Zone Music Tour. So, guys, we're going to talk about it. Every day there's a lot of music. There's music throughout the whole reunion, right? So everything kicks off Wednesday night at Magoo's, a very Canal Zone Zonian restaurant. in Cardenas, and it kicks off with Las Vegas. If you guys remember the Palm family, Lisa Palm leads that group. You know, she is an incredible singer, and I know they won a few awards last year.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're a very well established band in
Magoo's Wednesday night, Lollapalooza starts Thursday. Big event, guys, at the Marriott in Albrook, the one there close by the mall. Our very own James Slater is going to be headlining that band called the Spirit of 76, and I'm sure it's going to be all the Viva guys and that group, and they're going to be playing at the Marriott in Albrook, and that party is known as the Midnight Chicken Coop. Thursday night, James Slater. So you got Lisa Palm with Las Vegas on Wednesday, James Slater with Spirit of 76 on Thursday.
Yeah, he's down in the Keys right now. He said
he's down in the Keys. Yes,
Zonians out there. He's
and we're gonna have him back next year. Hopefully the earlier part, but whenever his schedule allows, we'll make sure we slip him right in, man. Friday, 2 events on Friday, 2 music events at the Railroad Luncheon at another very Zonian restaurant known as Austin Mama's, again in Cardenas. You always want to go there when you go to Panama. And of course, all the other award-winning restaurants. 6 in the top 50 in Latin America and Panama. Nice. So we'll go over that later, too. But at the Railroad Luncheon at Austin's at noon, McCory and Carney Band. These guys are like a singer and a guitarist.
Okay.
And they do very good blues. I mean, they're phenomenal. The guy plays a lot in Texas and in Panama. And I believe he's a graduate of 76. Oh, right. So they'll be at Austin Mama's for the Railroad Luncheon. And then Friday night, 9:30 p.m., Friday Night Owl Show at the Canal House, or the Balboa Yacht Club, as a lot of us know it. But it is called the Canal House. At 9:30 p.m., Woodstock is going to play. Now, I haven't asked Alex who Woodstock is, but I imagine that's like open mic. All the Zonians can come and play and jam out like they did last year.
Yeah.
And that last year was like in Albrook.
It was, correct.
And in a difficult to find place. But this year they're doing it at the Canal House or the Balboa Yacht Club.
Right where the reunion's taking place.
Right where the reunion's place. So that's Friday. 2 shows on Friday, guys. And then Saturday is the big event, right? Three different acts, three different bands playing at noon at the lobby bar at the hotel right there in Amador. Frank Preto and La Parranda, of course. Nice. Those guys are, he took over Lucho Azcárraga, same kind of music. Correct. And, he plays at the reunions on Saturday nights. Well, he'll be at the lobby bar starting noon on Saturday. At the pool, so if you can go to the lobby bar, or if you feel like being at the pool, the DJ Mark C, I don't know who he is, but you guys probably know who he is, will be DJing at the pool. And then, if you stick around, which I'm sure you all are, at 9:30, the big headliner, Shorty and Slim, will be headlining their new EP, Canalzium, which I understand is, since the Canal Zone is like one big ginormous museum today.
Yeah, what it is. You take that walking tour, for example, around Balboa and El Prado. That in itself is a museum tour.
I know, think about it. And that guy's doing good. That's our boy Posada.
Yeah.
He gets 10, 15, 20 people signing up to go walk around Balboa. Where we played Ringolevio, where we played street football.
Your doctor says, hey, you got to get in shape, man. You should do some walking. Well, hell, what better way to do it? Get paid to walk around El Prado and tell people about it.
And where you lived, and what high school, at the admin building.
Holy cow,
well, guys,
gig, man.
That is the lineup, and that's an incredible lineup, by the way, for the Canal Zone Music Festival being held at the Canal in conjunction with the Canal Zone Reunion. So, guys, a lot of events: Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 2 on Friday, 3 on Saturday, but the first 2 are tops, man. I mean, they're all super good, of course.
And those are your localized events right there at the hotels, because, again, as we've said many times now, this reunion is all about the experiences that you go and do. So, you're going to spend a lot of time away from the hotel, comfortable walking shoes, of course, and if you haven't been there in a while, it is dry season, so it's not nearly as humid, but that's a relative term, because not nearly as humid as the rainy season is still pretty damn humid compared to a lot of places in the world. So, just
But
understand
still,
that. But still,
you can Uber. They say Uber's
Yes.
dirt cheap down there.
yes, it is. And when you get back there, you'll realize how small the zone really was, compared to what we looked at. So
Because we walked everywhere. That's why
Yeah.
it looked ginormous for us.
yeah, it did, So, but and don't forget, guys, on the bottom there, scrolling, canalzonereunion.com. That's the website. If
Yep.
you want to have any information, go there. You probably still can register to get updates from them, but I mean, you're weeks away from it now. So, and unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to attend the reunion. I really had every intention of going, but it's just not feasible right now. In all
He wants
honesty,
to go see soccer.
I do. I wanted so bad to go see Panama in 2018, and that one going all the way to Russia was
that's difficult.
monumental task. This one's a little bit different. It's in our backyard, and Panama's doing really well right now. It's only their second World Cup ever, and so it's one of those. You get that one opportunity, and this is the one for me. So unfortunately, I had to pick one or the other. And so, I'll go down. I'll try my best to go down next year for the reunion if I can. But either way, enjoy it, guys. Have a blast. Class of '86. Have a drink on me. I'll certainly be celebrating you guys. We can still maybe try and coordinate to get something. If somebody's got a phone that wants to just chime in real quick and say
for
hello, we
sure.
can do that.
Yeah. See if we can get them on.
But anyway, that's what we got going on here in latest in
yeah.
announcements and stuff, So
We got a little news too, a little bochincha.
Yeah.
It's end of the year, Willie. So a lot of the numbers are here. Let me talking to the microphone. So a lot of the numbers are starting to come out. Like the Canal wrote the government a check, almost $3 billion.
how about that, huh?
That's just for the Canal operations. Imagine when they add all the other stuff they're going to add. So, Canal's bringing in a lot of money, guys. Tourism numbers came out. I thought Panama was doing a lot better, but we're getting up there. We're like number 11. We didn't make the top 10, number 9. From Central America, the best we did was El Salvador, believe it or not, with 3.1 million.
Okay.
They came in 9th place. So that's amazing. But the rest were Colombia came in 5th with 6.5 million visitors.
Okay.
Brazil came in 3rd with 7.7.
Well, that stuff's very cyclical also. I mean, in all honesty, countries go into these massive, massive marketing campaigns. And so, people that are looking to take a vacation next year, they suddenly start seeing these commercials, go to Brazil, go to Brazil. Guess what? People start going to Brazil. In a few years, you'll see those numbers again, and Panama will come back up. They'll go into one of those big, campaigns. So it's...
it's picking up. It's definitely picking up in Panama.
Yeah.
But we just didn't make the cut this year. But I'm bringing it up to see if next year, if we remember, we'll see if we make the top 10. But second place, Dominican Republic with 8.5 million, and first place, Mexico with 45 million. So they're way ahead of everybody.
Yeah. Well, Mexico's a big country too, guys.
Other news, that is a ginormous country.
It really is. People don't think about that. They just assume it's Mexico, and they compare it to United States and Canada as part of North America. But Mexico is a big country, man. It's got a large population, and just in size, it's a very large country.
And they're known for food, which Panama now is becoming
they have
known
a
for
culture.
food.
They have a world recognized culture.
Yeah. Hey, another big event coming, but not next month, the 17th. If you're in Panama, the week before the reunion, they have El Desfile de las Mil Polleras en las Tablas.
I saw that.
That's something you wanna see, man. Everybody dresses in the polleras and the montunos, and it's a big event, cultural event. So that's also coming up.
They call it El Desfile de las Mil Polleras, which is the parade of 1,000 polleras. Truth be told, you're literally looking at thousands of polleras there. You'll have the 1,000 in the desfile in the parade, but everybody shows up that you kind of, I guess it's the traditional equivalent here in the States to what some of these what would you call those stupid conventions where the people go to and they Comic-Con, right? And they dress up in all their costumes, and you see them walking around town.
Yeah. You can say like that.
You know that convention's in town because the whole town you see people walking around in Spider-Man outfits and all that shit, and it's the same thing in Las Tablas. You will see polleras everywhere, and it really is. Whether there's a bias or not, it is one of the more beautiful, elaborate traditional costumes of the world is a pollera. It's always
Oh
has.
yes, it went like in the Miss Universe is always they
Always-
always get up there.
Yeah, it's always recognized.
Always recognized.
Yeah.
On the again the numbers that have been coming out, all the economic numbers, Panama's looking good. 8.36% increase over the last year, so almost
Nice.
10% better. You know, the Canal, the top three money makers for the Panamanian government, the Panama Canal, Tocumen Airport,
Sure.
and the ports, and all three did very, very well. On the way up, did doing quite well, and moving up was transportation, which is what we've been talking a lot about here, moving those TEUs across. And by the way, we hit 10 million again this year on the TEUs. Commerce is up, so a lot of people are shopping, a lot of people are buying, so that's up as well. Construction is up, and going up even higher next year. The government just announced they're going to be hiring 30,000 new construction workers to go onto this $1.2 billion road repair project all over the country.
In fact,
So-
one of the roads, Ricky, that they're going to be repairing is in a very iconic place that we'll actually see in our Howler Monkey commercial, but at
It
Napoli.
scares the heck out of me. It's like, yeah, they're going to be doing major road work in front of Napoli's.
Well, that's a major thoroughfare, believe it or not, even though it seems like it's a narrow road that we would go down and park there and walk to Napoli's. But, you know, the Instituto, which is one of their bigger universities and high schools and everything.
High school,
there. And you know, it's just a lot of commerce in that small area. It's a choke point for people going into the zone, especially back in the day, going into Ancon to work at the hospital. So it was a busy thoroughfare, but the road has always been a shitty road. And like Ricky's mentioning, there's a lot of money earmarked to, you know, you're going to see a lot of construction going on there. You won't notice it in January here, but if you go this year to the reunion and then you go next year, you'll probably notice a big difference in those roads. Hopefully.
Yeah, I hope they don't knock down Napoli's. Well, that would
No,
really
no,
be
no.
sacrilegious, man. We'll throw what they'll do. We'll protest that one, man.
Yeah,
Come
indeed.
on, well, definitely. Yeah, so that's construction's up again. Finance is up, and that's because you know all these new projects we're doing. And hotels and restaurants are up.
Nice.
What did come down, Zona Libre, which is surprising to me, industrial output, and I don't know about how much we do there, agriculture, and that's because of they closed down Chiquita Banana, you know, of course they're going
That had a
to
major
lose
impact.
money. And fishing, that blows me away. How the heck could fishing go down? So I don't know, you fishermen's out there. And there's a lot of Zonians doing these fish
You know,
fish
and
companies.
sometimes I wonder with stuff like that, for example, is it necessarily that it went down or that our competitors went up? And so
I don't
therefore,
know,
we
but
may
that-
drop in
yeah.
a ranking, but it doesn't mean that we necessarily cut back on production. We just may not have produced as much. Somebody else may have gotten through some massive surge and
Could be.
you know.
Because fishing was surprised me that fishing was
Yeah.
down. Agriculture, I understood. Zona Libre, I understood. But industrial output, I don't know what that means. You know what they're doing in Panama there. But for the best part, almost a 10% increase over the last year. That's really, really good.
Yeah,
the-
and the amount of money that was given to them by the Panama Canal company, the ACP. I mean, it's unbelievable that it's really interesting to look at the dynamic of that one valuable entity, which is the canal, and how we viewed it as Americans owning and operating it for all that time. It was in essence a thoroughfare, a highway. It wasn't even I guess you could call it a toll road, but it wasn't a profit center.
No, it was get the boats through. Just get them through, get them the heck out of here.
Exactly, and it was a convenience for us that could help with world commerce, certainly help our military, but it wasn't viewed as something that you could make money with. And Panama was turned around and said, well, guess what? We can still do all that stuff that you want and put some money in our pockets.
And quadruple, unbelievable, man. So right on, Panama.
Yes, indeed.
You know, you hear the people that talk the worst about Panama are Panamanians. You know, and Panama really is doing well. I mean, their future is.
I always use the
totally
analogy with
set.
people like that, Ricky. I always say, you know what? That's somebody you give them $1 million and they're like, really $1 bills? And they'll complain. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, really $1 bills. But yeah, Panama is in a solid, good place all the way
No, yeah,
around.
Ricky's not going to make it down there either. We already had known that he wasn't going to be down there, but you know, I'll tell you what, man, we're going to definitely try for next year because that's a good.
Bobby
time.
Clayton.
We want to do that there. So yeah, Bobby said take a bike down there. He does. Well,
Way to go,
this guy-
Bobby. Good to see you,
is
Bobby.
a bike rider, man. I always see this guy posting that he does some some treks down on the East Coast there, man. He's
Bobby's an animal.
him. Yeah, he is. And by the way, if you ever need any kind of commercial financing on stuff and get some loans, commercial loans, give this man a call because he can definitely take care of you, especially anything involving, like the SBA and all that stuff. This guy knows what he's doing there. He's a wizard at that, man. So give him a holler.
Yeah, when the economy was bad about 10 years ago, it was Bobby Klingon that stood up and got the loans for all the small businesses that weren't able to get them, and that's how Bobby created his business.
You're right. No kidding.
He went after the small business, got them all loans, got them all those companies started, and they've all come back to him. So right to Bobby Klingon, man, from the Canal Zone.
Absolutely.
And from our show. Way to go, Bobby.
Brother. And Captain Eftimitis, happy holidays from the funnel of the world of commerce. Yes, indeed. Happy
holidays,
go,
brother. Captain. Good to see you, like always.
From Cascadas and Sea Panama.
Yeah. So before we wrap up on the news, let me tell you what those road projects are, because I did write it down. So let me at least tell you guys. So again, 1.2 billion.
Give Captain Andrew a call. He needs $3 million
for the new museum. All right, we can raise that for you. Well, under that 1.2 billion, they are going to be doing a Ruta de Café, which is up in Boquete. So they're gonna have a new highway for everybody to go see all the plantations and everything that's up there. That's tourism. El Corredor de las Playas, which we need to do more research, but what I understand is that they're just raising the highway above and bypassing a lot of towns to get to the beaches quicker. So that means that, again, and we've talked about this project several times, actually. You'll be getting to the beach real quick from the Canal Zone. I mean, you're going to be to Coronado in 20, 35, 30 minutes. Yeah. It's going to be like nothing coming up. And then tourism in Ovalle also is going to get a lot of new road projects there. And production highways. We were talking about how to transport goods, whether it's good to do it on trains or not. But Panama's investing in a bunch of new roads for what they call their production highways. And then, of course, in the Darien Gap, which we've again through our shows have been informing you guys. 38 road projects in the Darien.
Yes, I saw that.
From road windings to bridges.
Remember last year, Ricky, when we had, Matt Tomlin on and Michael Yon, they were right at that construction site of that big major bridge.
And we had no idea why, but now we know. And you know what? It's all Mercosur. It's all Mercosur. Panama is the hub now, so everything needs to get from the south. They can't, it's cheaper to transport it by road. In the other
direction, because now this has opened up markets for Panama to export to in South America.
And everybody else will go up to Panama and then south. So
right.
So much for the Darien Gap.
Agriculture you're talking about there will be also moving, because now new markets in South America are opening up that you're going to be moving that stuff to. And certainly produce is one of those that you don't have the luxury of time. So you got to have infrastructure to move it quickly and efficiently, so.
38 projects. So Panama is going to be hiring 30,000 new workers, and they're going to be, I think it's actually the project's called Tapahueco, fix holes.
Yeah, well, hey, call it what you want, man. As long as the money's there and you do what you're supposed to do. Call it whatever you got to call it, man. But yeah, you're welcome, Bobby. My pleasure, man. You do good stuff out there, man. You take care of some people that just banks won't do it, man, and Bobby finds them the funding, man. So if you're in that situation, somebody that's looking for a commercial loan, give him a holler for sure. Andrew, just $3 million, man. Come on. Rich is counting his money right. He just busted out his wallet. He goes, how much do I got left after Christmas holiday?
Well, you know who the architect is for that museum, right? So one of those, $1 million of that $3 million is just to pay the architect.
There you go. It's my understanding that it is somebody that's got a nickname of Art Vandalay.
And he wears a Panama hat to his podcast. You guys see my hat?
He does.
No, I'm only kidding, Andrew. It's not $1 million. Man.
Oh, there you go. Look at that. All right. And listen, and our finder's fee is cheap, so
yeah.
Don't sweat it.
Happy birthday. I mean, Merry Christmas, baby. We are in the Christmas giving mood here. Speaking of Christmas giving mood.
That $3 million loan, we expect like about 1,000 beers bought there, man, right? That'll be our
Don't forget to get your Panama Canal Society membership updated.
Yes. Guys, it's $50. It's less than $1 a week to be a member of the Pan Canal Society. Think about that. $1 a week, man. I mean, that's Panama prices right there, right? So
due pretty soon. And plus you get a record.
And it's a great one, man. They do it in color and everything. That's one thing, we've learned as a society in general, not just a Zonian society, but just kind of civilization in general. A lot of things have become cheap, right? And it become disposable. And so people are like, well, don't spend the money on that when it's this, that, and the other. But that's one thing that the Canal record is still something that it's a great collector's item on there. It looks awesome. And when you get it in the mail, you know what you got in your hand before you even open it. It's awesome, man. And again, all you're getting that and all the great information, the camaraderie, any of the assistance you need with any government affairs. Dave Dahlstrom, our historian, he's also the legislative representative for the society. And so, the Pan Canal Society represents us as Zonians, with our great culture and our nostalgia, but it also has a helpful official capacity for retirees of the Canal Zone. There's a lot of our parents that, this great life we had was because they were employees of the Pan Canal Company and the U.S. government. They've retired, and these guys help to keep them up to date with any changes in any government, systems or whatnot that help them out. So it's just a great organization, guys. And again, for less than $1 a week, you can be a member of this society and help keep this thing going and keep this Canal Zone story going. So good reminder there, Ricky, because remember, it's end of the year and you can do it for $50 now, but if you wait, then you got to go up to $60. So save yourself that $10, man, and get that registration.
Do we still get that gig with them that if you go through us, they waive that $10?
Well, they waive it until this point anyway, so I would just, regardless, and let's assume they don't. If you make it too late, do it anyway. $60 for God's sakes, man.
I'll buy you a beer. Just let me know you paid the $10.
Yeah, exactly, man. But it's well worth it. It's a great organization, and if we learned this not last year, but the year before. Actually, it was last year. Bill McLaughlin, the former society president, was on with us, and he was telling us, very briefly, this, all the work that goes into that reunion.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And when I tell you very briefly, he just touched the tip of the iceberg. I mean, it's an endeavor that starts in September for the following year. So these guys, they put a lot of effort into it. We take it for granted. We get to these reunions and everybody says the same thing. Man, this was awesome. What a great time. Well, you know what? It's easy to be thankful, but you can show your love by throwing $50 at the society and get your membership updated. So.
The best deal is the 5-year deal. I know it's $250, but that's truly the best. You're doing magic for the society if you
really are, because they
can
plan things more long term by that, and then you don't have to worry about it, man. It's there for the long haul, and you can get your cool little thing on your badge there. It shows that you're a cool person. You're one of those tough guys, So yeah, absolutely.
What else do I have here in my notes?
Not much. We're just waiting for these guys to complete their negotiation here so we can.
Oh, hey, I love it, man. That's what our show's all about. All you Zonians get together here and do business.
Bobby, we're gonna try. Sorry, but Bobby mentioned that World Cup. I'm looking to go to Toronto and New York. Any other Zonians want to join me? We've got that Zonians going to the World Cup Facebook group. Go ahead and jump in there. I'm going to start putting stuff in there now that the year is getting ready to start. But that's why I'm not going to the reunion in Panama, unfortunately, because I got to pick one or the other. And again, this is one of those bucket list, once in a lifetime opportunities. So, but that would be cool, Bobby. If you want to go, man, let's go check it out. I think we can get a really cool group of Zonians out there to go and cheer on Panama, man. I'm excited. So it's going to be a good time.
I know. Our stadium here is getting some soccer games. It's like Qatar against Australia.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? The Aussies made out good because that's, they're already traveling across the damn ocean, man. At least they can go on the West Coast, man. They don't have to go all the way to New York or something.
Yeah, I know. They're complaining that we didn't get absolutely zero top names here for the games we got.
That is true. I mean, that's nothing. And I think we briefly mentioned it last week, but I don't know what FIFA's thinking with that final, because they better pray to God that you don't have one of those underdog Cinderella stories that goes all the way to the final, because the cheapest ticket to get to the World Cup final is $3,000 for the cheapest seat in that stadium. Now, I'm telling you, man, I know that there are fans of the Qatars of the world and the Moroccos and the Panamas of the world.
They never make it.
Well, listen, Morocco was in the semifinals last year, and Argentina,
that's true.
Argentina barely got by them to go into the championship, so that could just as easily have been one of those Cinderella stories. And then all of a sudden, FIFA's looking like a bunch of fools because they got a bunch of empty seats in that stadium. Because I'm sorry, but I don't think a lot of people are dropping $3,000 or $8,000 or $10,000 or $12,000 to go see that team play. No offense to them, but that's same thing with Panama. I wouldn't pay it as much as I think it would be fantastic. It'd be hard pressed to come up with $3,000 to sit in nosebleed seats. I mean, that's a tough call, man. But we shall see. I don't think we have to worry about that with Panama, but we'll see what they do against Ghana, against Croatia, and against England, right? I think it's set up, honestly, that group is set up. The order of the games is probably, if Panama landing in that group was worst case scenario for them, which I agree it was, best case scenario in that group is the order they're playing them in. You don't
True,
want to
because
England
they play
first.
England the third game, where
Yes.
England's probably already classified.
Exactly, and that's what we're hoping for, because otherwise you play them first game, they're going to go in there trying to make a statement, and they want to be the leading team in the group, and so they're going to beat the shit out of whoever they beat first. So you don't want to play that game. They're playing Ghana first, which I'm liking that opportunity. You play them tough, you get Croatia thinking twice about that second game now, and then you can.
Who do we play first? Who does
Ghana.
Panama play?
We play
Ghana first and then Croatia. Okay,
I believe
cool.
that's the way it's set up. I got to double check that schedule. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But either way, I'm liking the fact that England is our last opponent because, like
So
you said,
Croatia is gonna get clobbered.
I hope so. I think whoever plays England first, you better. There's a term in soccer called park the bus, and that means when you know the other team is way better than you are, then you're doing your best to just stop them from scoring. So you line up, you get 4 or 5 in the back line, you get 4 right in front of them. You have one striker who even sits on our side of the field trying to help defend a little bit. You're hoping on occasion you might get a breakaway and do some kind of counterattack, but the whole time you are just making sure they don't score. And you're going to do that against England, I have a feeling, in that first game, because they are far and above the best team in the group. And hey, fingers crossed, man. We'll see what happens.
Yep.
We'll see what happens. But anyway. So, bueno.
Let's go on segment number 3.
Yeah. So I think we're good with that. Of course, before we proceed, we have to talk about our sponsor, our Howler Monkey Sauce friends. They're sponsors. Of course, if you want to help out and sponsor the show as well, that QR code you see at the lower right of the screen there, that is our buy us a beer. That one will it always helps us out. We have some costs that are involved with this show, and any little bit always helps. But nonetheless, our big sponsor is Howler Monkey Sauce. These guys have stepped up. Conan Herring and Tommy Ellis they've made a really, really fantastic product, a hot sauce that is, and I'm not even going out on a limb to say this, because they are internationally recognized. These guys were on a show called Hot Ones. It's a very, very successful, very well-known YouTube show all about interviewing celebrities and talking about hot sauce. And Howler Monkey was on there for, I think, 2 seasons. They're in major grocery stores and they're in Amazon and all that stuff. But they've grown to the point now where they want to find a spokesperson for this hot sauce, because they got some great flavors and stuff. And so we've met a couple of their spokespersons, and we've got a couple others on the way here. But let's revisit a couple of the ones that they have already. We saw Balboa last week. He's pretty cool. He likes that Amarillo sauce. And then we've got someone that grew up in the Howard Air Force Base area. Somebody named
Arrayan area.
Yeah, exactly. So let's check him out here and see what Howler Monkey Sauce got going on here.
We're still looking for our Howler Monkey Hot Sauce spokesperson. Just got an email.
Not sure what happened there, why that hitched up like that. Let's try that one more time and see what is going on here, because that was kind of
We're still looking for our Howler Monkey Hot Sauce spokesperson. Just got an email from Panama.
You've got mail.
Hey, I'm Mac, and I grew up behind Howard Air Force Base in Panama. I can talk about hot sauce. On pizza, uy, que rico. So I just miro la camera and say, I'm Mac. I grew up in these trees next to Howard Air Force Base. Hey, are we really going to Napoli? And let me tell you, the flavors of ají chombo, garlic, and onions. They each hit you one at a time, and it's so delicious. Howler Monkey Original brings the true taste ají chombo of Panama to your pizza game.
Do you know a howler monkey who can describe the sweet heat of our original with authentic ají chombo peppers, or the fresh punch of verde where habanero warmth meets crisp bell pepper? How about the bold tang of Amarillo, yellow Scotch bonnets blended with mustard seeds? And of course, our hot, the same great flavor as original, fired up with red habaneros for that fire. Our sauces are all natural, no preservatives, gluten-free, pure flavor and pure fire. Are you the next Howler Monkey spokesperson?
Right, so that was
I love
Mac
it, man. I
there,
love it. That Mac's cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, what other regions do you have? Does Howler Monkey looking for spokespeople?
The next one is a
Mr.
gentleman, and I will use it loosely, that term. Thank you, Eric. Right on. You should try it. It's really good. If you're in Florida, I know Publix supermarkets have it. They had this one end cap that has all these different Florida companies, and they kind of showcase local produce or whatever or items and whatnot. But if not, definitely on Amazon. Just type in Amazon Howler Monkey Sauce. They have their own storefront there on Amazon. It's great, man. It is my favorite is that Amarillo that's on there. I've talked about that since I first started here. I love that stuff. It really is delicious. You got to shake it up, man, because they don't have preservatives. They don't have all that gluten, and then what's the other stuff? There's like xanthan gum or something they put. It kind of holds a consistency. So but all that stuff's not good for you. We keep learning more and more nowadays of all these chemicals and all the crap they put in foods nowadays. This
Coloring,
all natural, man. I mean, you can see the goodness coming out of that bottle, man. It's good stuff. So yeah, definitely try it.
But Willie, have you selected where the next areas are going to come out of, or should we ask our audience to see if they have any ideas of where our next monkey should come
there
from?
is one in the works, but we still are looking for that fourth one because there's 4 spokespersons. There's 4 different hot sauces. Right, and so we have one coming up next, which is for the verde sauce, and that's a howler monkey named Chame that we found out. We got word that there was a howler monkey that was quite the avid surfer. So
okay, so that's number 3. So maybe our audience can chime in and see what area of Panama. Yeah,
that's a good call, Ricky. That's a great call.
and a name too. Why not?
Yeah, why not? Have some fun with this, and it's really cool. These guys are Zonians. They are. So it's kind of nice to support a Zonian company anyway, right? And they're kind of
his dad was one of the original guys from Hammer. I wonder if something like that, like a construction monkey with a hammer, because they were Hammer Construction. The Ellises were Hammer Construction.
Very interesting.
Which all of us worked for, including me.
And I could see a howler monkey growing up in that area because Coakley wasn't very inhabited out there, right? And didn't they have a lot of their construction stuff?
A lot of the guys lived there, but I think they're Willicek could tell us because he was an officer for that.
Okay.
He's a manager on that company. He was like he managed all. If I recall right, I could be wrong, but he recalled like all the materials that would be flown in. He was in charge of.
That would be another interesting. It's funny. Ricky and I were talking earlier today. Today was nice being a Friday. That holiday type Friday. We had a lot of time to sit around and chit chat a little bit about the show and some stuff coming up for next year that we have in line and some ideas. And that would be a good one to have as well, as have somebody from Hammer, because that was kind of the Zonian construction company, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they did all the projects. Like they did everything. From and like I worked on the PX annex. That building they put on next to the PX in Corozal. I worked on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, they would be very
a lot of us did.
We have a lot of other in the hopper that have agreed to join us. We just haven't set a time and a date yet, as you guys have seen from chatting here with Jim and Diane Bradley. Jim obviously had a great history with the Canal Zone, with the electric division, and he played a role in the Gorgas Hospital, the new annex there, even stuff with the new canal. And as we've learned, something that we've got in the works as well is talking more about the Sturgis, which was that ship that was anchored in Gatun right next to the dam out there. And that provided supplemental electricity. It was an actual nuclear reactor that was parked there for several years, providing additional power to the Canal Zone. As you know, our power was driven from the hydroelectric dams, but the first priority for that water was operation of the canal. And so if it got low enough to where you had to start conserving water, otherwise you can't open the gates, because as you know, the canal is all gravity fed through water. And so if you didn't have enough water there, guess what was stopped first? It was the hydroelectric production, or slowed down at least. And obviously that impacted electrical power. So they had a nuclear barge there. Jim and I were chatting. They had one, not nuclear, but had another one, a diesel one on, or oil, a tanker, I guess, by the dry docks in Balboa that was also providing supplemental power on that side. So that's going to be a cool story that we're going to get to at the beginning of this year. What's the other one?
Hunter?
Yes. Mr. Hunter, and I apologize again. I'm the worst with names, but he is a very well-known Zonian who had an accident way back in the day, ended up leaving him blind. But like a lot of Zonians, we are a cut above and beyond everyone else. He took that and turned around and created a product for operating computers for blind people.
Right on.
That was extremely successful, so much so that Microsoft bought him out.
Wow.
And so, yes, I mean, this guy's a great story. So we're excited to have him on. Who was the guy that I was telling you, Ricky, about the
dredges,
the dredging division?
Wiskoski.
Yes. He's going to join us. He's
Lance Wiskoski.
Yes, he worked on the dredge, the big, the
that's gonna be
Hercules
good.
And all those, so that's that other component of the canal that we haven't heard yet, right? We've heard from people on the locks. We've heard from
everybody when they think the Panama Canal, truly they think the powerhouse is the locks, etc., and the locomotives that get the mules. But it's not. It's the dredge. Without those dredges, without those dredging equipment, there is no canal. Period.
The canal is in a place that you're going to have
digging it out to keeping it open. So we're going to have them to talk about what the dredging division does, or has, when they worked there. I'm sure that hasn't changed much today. Hey, Bud Tristano, that's a great person to have on. Hello there. Merry Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas, Bud. Yeah, absolutely. No, look at that. How could I have a howler monkey from Barrow, Colorado, where hey, right on, man, because it would have a natural connection to the Zonians anyway,
And they do a lot of studies out there. I saw one on YouTube recently with Arpia Eagle.
Right?
Which one?
There's a connection to the railroad with our friend Noyargar.
Oh, yes.
It worked in Barrow, Colorado, and she would take the train every day out to Gamboa and then get off. I think either there or maybe it was Santa Cruz, the next station, and then take the
I was the poor howler monkeys are used for a lot of testing, on behavior, predator behavior and stuff like that. Oh, man, they raise them and then they'll do a test of some kind. That was on YouTube. If you guys put up Barrow, Colorado, you'll see, or Smithsonian in Panama, they did an experiment with the harpy eagles. And
those are massive too. Have you ever seen an harpy eagle, man? Let me tell you what. Love the bald eagle. It's the American, the insignia of the America and everything. But let me tell you what, you put that thing next to a harpy eagle, man. That thing, it's like Anthony Joshua and your boy Jake Paul.
Yeah, Willie's like this. Some scientists wanted to know how monkeys adjust to not having a predator and how they raise their, and how they live, and then introducing a predator and see how fast they adapt to living with a predator. So, but that in between learning, that's
gotta be rough, man.
But they grow them. So, but that was
no. I mean,
so that would be a good one for, just because they use them for testing, man.
We could call him Smitty or Beans. Yeah,
Beans.
Yes. That's right. That was Frijoles was the stop there. Look at Bud.
Frijoles. Yeah. Everybody on this show is always historians.
So listen, if you guys don't know, the name may sound familiar. Bud Tristano is a Zonian who was in the Air Force, and he had the good fortune of being stationed down in Howard Air Force Base. He worked on the flight line down there. But Bud was he was on our show. He was, as a kid, an avid photographer, videographer, and so this was in his blood. So he came down here ready to capture his experience down here, and he did in a wonderful way. You go on YouTube and just type in Bud Tristano, just as the name is up there, and amazing channel. You probably have seen his pictures and videos of the slide, okay?
And the French cut.
Yes.
And Goofy Falls.
Let me tell you what, the most iconic images and videos of that everybody's seen come from Bud Tristano. This guy made the best of his time in Panama, and he you know, it was funny. Remember him telling us that, you know, sometimes on Friday, you know, they'd be in the car pulling out and you see the people upstairs in the barracks looking at everybody leaving. And when you pull in Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, they're still in the window looking, man. They just never experienced it. They're there for you.
Yeah.
So that's pretty funny.
Tonight is a recap show, so we're recapping a lot. But guys, our second show next month, we're going to do a year recap. Today we're just doing a month recap, which is our fourth show of every month.
Yep.
But in 2 weeks, we're going to do, very well done with a lot of AI work, we're going to do a yearly. So again, you guys out there, if there's a show you really liked or remember or want to hear more about it, let us know. We're gonna put up pictures and a number of things. We've been working on this for a while.
Yeah, let us know what you guys, what your memories of the last year on the show were. What was the funny one, the aha moment, the wonderful story, whatever it was. That's the stuff we want to talk about because it was a year of some great Canal Zone stories and Canal Zone history.
Ted Hender, that's it. Yes.
Yep. Ted Hender, fantastic, and did a lot for the school. Yeah, I mean, this guy's just a great guy. So
great human being, and he's also a motocross. He was a motocross champion. I mean, not a motocross, but a motorcycle. I think like road racing and that kind of stuff.
Correct. Yep. I put into my movies in the comments, but YouTube deleted it. Okay, well, it's I'll put it on there for you, brother. I'll put it up as a banner here in just a moment while Ricky does a little song and dance here.
So we got to get into our show. We're doing segment 2 stuff still. Willie, you know, Willie and I are like all professional now. Yeah, we have segment 1, segment 2, segment 3, segment 4. And, you know, we're trying to do it like that, but we're such bochincheros. But we are going to be talking about our 3 shows, starting with Dave's show, the history show, and some of the highlights of that show. For me, the highlight was that it was all the people behind the scenes. And then our second show was our fun show, which is our dictionary, which normally is our third show, but, you know, we're flexible. And we had a great time with the dictionary show. We really, that was a lot of fun. The second week of the month. And we had some great words that we learned. And then the third show was with the Tuckerman and Jesus Romero, and about Venezuela and the whole drug path, and, you know, how Panama's involved, and, you know, all the similarities with Just Cause and what's going on right now with Venezuela. So it's going to be a pretty good recap, guys. You know, we can start us off, obviously, with our first show of the month. I don't know if Willie wants to put up any...
Yeah, no, and actually, before that, Ricky came up with this interesting picture that we were going to talk about a little bit of
Oh, we can start, but that's more from the all right, we'll go right to this one, because we have no order. All right, I brought up to you guys what the Límite was, what it was. It was a bar. So we've got pictures of this great bar, which, by the way, last week, 2 different Instagram sites also talked about this building.
So they're listening to the show, is what you're saying?
I would take it all the way there, but yeah, it seems like perhaps there were, you know, like always, Willie. I don't know where I put my notes. Oh my goodness! Oh, here they are. Willie and I are so organized sometimes that we lose everything. All right. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
No. If you guys from just viewing that while he's going through his paperwork, do you remember what street that is? Where we're talking about there? Because it looks familiar, but then again, it doesn't. One thing you'll notice is that Panama, their view of vegetation and the Americans' view of vegetation was quite a bit different, because we cut the shit out of that stuff, man. Even Sosa Hill, we'd burn the whole damn thing down, you know. Whereas Panama, they're like, let it grow, man.
Yeah, let it grow, let it be. But guys, this building, the reason why we're going to talk about it, I like it, was many things. First, it was well-known building amongst the Canal Zone community, and it was called El Límite. But the building design was after, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the Flatiron Building in New York City.
Yeah, iconic.
Well, it was built, it's iconic, and it's built after that. It was built in the 20s, so it's been around for a long time now. Here's the cool thing about this bar, if you guys remember on what we were talking about, that, you know, a lot of Zonians and military guys were going there. And now we found out the reason why it became so popular in the 30s, 10 years after it opened, because in the Canal Zone, guys, there was prohibition
It was U.S. territory.
U.S. territory. There was prohibition, but in Panama there was no prohibition, and hence there you go. Why it was one of the most popular bars in the Canal Zone, right across the street from.
Awesome.
Yeah, because if you look and see there on the left, right on the top picture, 1920, you can see that they're on the Canal Zone side. The two cops,
Right.
they can't cross the street because that's Panama. So on this side, that's where the cops are.
July.
1920, and look,
No,
there's
no, the road, that street, was that 4th of July Avenue?
That's 4th of July Avenue.
Okay.
And then if you can see the trolley, that trolley would go out to La Boca.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
now,
there you go.
Knowing the border or lack of border between Panama and the Canal Zone, I gotta believe that every house in the Canal Zone had booze in it because it wasn't hard to go get it. You know,
I gotta just go across the street there. But look,
That's it.
look at it today. Look at how wide
Yeah, right.
the road is. It was double wide. Well, I think it was double wide when we were growing up, actually.
Oh yeah. But I mean, that
Yeah, it
was
was
still became
double
a
wide.
major thoroughfare. That's what connected the bridge.
But now it's a big thoroughfare. Yeah. So that building. So that was a great building. The name of the first bar there was the Tom Brady Bar and Restaurant.
Of course. Go
Yes.
figure. Tom Brady Bar. There
Tom
you go.
Brady Bar in the 20s, and it lasted, guys, till 1989, and then they tore it down.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that was one of the words in our dictionary.
Right.
All
So,
right.
so interesting thing then. So let's go ahead and start recapping some of what we saw this month. Right, December. It's the last month of the year, but nonetheless, like every month, we've got our history programming. We've got our Canal Zone dictionary. It's a lot of fun. And then we had a special guest last week, Steve Tarterman and Jesus Romero. Fantastic story. And Steve, I apologize. I just realized that I never got back to you, but I think we had well over 150 views on that show. So thank you again. You guys had a great compelling story. So we'll definitely talk about those. But we started out the month talking about what we had kind of finished off the previous month, which was that World Cup qualification for Panama. It was big news that they qualified. And then the first week in December, in fact, it was the Friday of the show, we talked about the World Cup draw. Because it was one thing to qualify, and there's still a few teams that haven't qualified yet. There's still some open spaces, which will take place in March. But they had the draw to tell you where the teams were going to be. And then the following day, Saturday, they tell you when they were going to play and where at. So on Friday, they tell you what groups you're in, who you're going to be facing. And then on Saturday, they told you where you're playing, what time, dates, etc. So, Panama qualified for the World Cup. Wonderful event. It's just a great story. They've really dominated their Central American group. This team is I can honestly say Panama is now an established soccer country. I think we're going to see more of this now. We're almost to the point, I think, where you can honestly say if Panama doesn't qualify for a World Cup now, it's a disappointment.
It's a disappointment. I agree with
Right?
you. Yeah.
And that's one of those stages in the sport where you realize, hey, we're here now, right? We're expected to be here now. When we don't, it's kind of a letdown. So, keep
Willie,
doing-
what do you think brought that on? Why did Panama get so good?
Well, I think it's, Panama is, you think of 100 years of having the United States there. You think of 500 years of being a place that is recognized around the world, right? There's always been an influx of foreigners and immigrants even into Panama, right? There's a lot of different cultures there. It's a country that, regardless of its size, always has importance, right? And it's grown in importance. Sports has always been really big in Panama. The Canal Zone played a role in that with, Kiwanis and football. Baseball has always been a huge sport. But interestingly enough, Panama has always been a baseball and a boxing country. Obviously, Roberto Duran, and there's plenty of other boxers, but he's obviously the prominent one. Baseball, there's from Mariano Rivera to Rod Carew and a whole bunch in between there. Back in the day, major leaguers like, the Cicero's grandfather, came down here to play baseball and things of that nature. So it's
And it was a Zonian that discovered Mariano Rivera.
100%. Herb Rayburn. Yes, indeed. So, that's been Panama's pedigree in sports, has always been baseball and boxing. But in the last 25, 30 years, Panama has just grown as a country. It's just blossomed in all aspects, and sports is one of those. They've had international soccer. I mean, listen, Panama played in international games years ago. They even had some success, but one of your next levels of advancement into a sport is introducing a national league. And Panama now has a league of their own that they have players. Now they're even starting to get some players from other countries coming in. That means there's a little bit of money there. But you're now getting a game that now has people growing up following it as kids, not just every 4 years as a, it's an event to watch like the Olympics, right? We don't have anybody in it, but we watch it anyway because it's that special event. That's what the World Cup was. Now we're part of it. This is now the second time we're part of it. And these guys now have grown up watching Panama be successful in soccer. So these guys grew up as little kids with a soccer ball at their feet. And you're starting to see the fruits of that now where Panama is becoming recognized. I mean, what is their ranking right now, Ricky, around the world?
30th.
30th out of 200 countries. Okay, so it really is a country that has stepped their game up, and it's. I think you're going to see a lot more of this success. So I'm really, really excited for that. I think it's going to be good. But we went through those qualifiers. We did what we had to. That final game was amazing. We had to win by a lot of goals, and we still needed a little bit of help, and we came through. We scored 3 goals. It was an amazing game against El Salvador. And then we waited a couple of weeks for the World Cup draw. And we had all this excitement. In fact, there was one of us in our chat group that Ricky always mentions. We were talking about where they want to be, who we want to face. And I remember, talking about wanting us to be in a group with Belgium and those type of countries, because the way they set it up now, you have a fixed group of teams that are your top seeded teams, and so they can't be in groups together. So you won't have a Brazil versus Argentina in the first round anymore. Any of those, they're always going to be those untouchables. And out of those untouchables, Belgium was the one that I'm looking at going, hey, that's probably one of the weaker ones. I think we'd be in that group and whatnot. Who would you not want to be in with? Well, of course, you don't want to be in with Brazil, Argentina, Germany, England, and all those kind of groups. And as the pick started coming around, all of a sudden we look and see the Belgium group. They get like Iran. We're like, okay, that's getting even a weaker group. We really want to be in that group. And in all honesty, the way it works, there's certain caveats where you can't have too many teams from one conference together. And so for a while there, they would pick a team, and then it'd be like, nope, you got to move to this one because you can't be in with so-and-so. And it would hurt Panama's chances of getting into that group. And ultimately, it went from what was looking very positive and hopeful, fingers crossed, to almost worst case scenario, because in World Cup soccer, you always have the one group that is referred to as the group of death. And that's the group.
Normally that's all the better teams. So it's
Correct.
good that Panama is associated with,
well, it's not
something like the group of death.
They're not put in there because they're associated with strong teams. It was a draw. It just came out that way.
I know. Looking for positive.
But it was, so they got group L, which I guess you see on the screen there, is the group of death. It is a tough group on paper. Okay. If you're a casual observer of soccer, if you've paid attention a little bit, Croatia is they've had a lot of success recently. They've won European championships. They've won a World Cup, but those same players are still hanging around. A few of them. They've lost a lot of those key players, but they have still some of those guys left, but they're older players now. So Croatia,
their best players in his 40s.
Correct. And so therefore the team has a certain reputation of being a good team, but the truth is, if you really look at them performance-wise, they're not as strong as they seem. So I'm not too afraid of that. Oh, thank you. Whoever that was, thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much. Right on. Appreciate that.
I got to put that up at the top so we can see it. But anyhow, the other team is Ghana. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's the one we want to talk about. Ghana had a good qualifying, but Ghana we've talked about this before. Again, I've said it several times. They're an undisciplined team. They get a lot of yellow cards. And the only reason I say that is because if you've watched Panama play, there's one thing that Panama has in those dark arts, they like to call them, and it's that they know how to throw that elbow, right? They know how to throw that knee in there. They know how to clip that ankle a few times, and they've done it to people where I've honestly felt bad for the likes of Pulisic, that Panama has just beaten them senseless a couple of times. And
the U.S. guy, yeah.
Yes, they beat them a couple of years ago. They had a game against them, and you could tell it was frustration. Panama was losing the game, and they just proceeded to beat the crap out of this guy. They were taking yellow card. It was like they were lining up like in the movie Airplane. Excuse me, miss, let me handle it.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
They just pounded these guys. Now, to Pulisic's credit and the U.S.'s credit, they didn't retaliate. But I have a feeling you do that to Ghana, you're going to have a lot of retaliations. And we all know from growing up playing sports, it's the one that retaliates that gets caught and gets the flag thrown on them in football or the yellow card or whatever.
NFL for sure, man.
So that's what we're hoping for there that could happen. England is England. They're one of the top 5 teams in the world. But best case scenario for us in Panama is that we face them third match of the group. We're hoping by then England has dominated, they've qualified, and therefore they're resting their players so they can get into the group stage healthy, which means that maybe Panama could push for a draw there. And I have a feeling they could win one of their games. I think they could beat Ghana. I'm hoping they could. A draw with Croatia is doable. Croatia's an old team. And then again, if England is resting players and looking at further down the tournament, that may be an opportunity for the Panama to come in, get a draw there. A win and 2 draws will definitely get them into the next round, which would be historic for Panama. So
2 draws, wow.
Yeah. And then lastly, we talked briefly about this guy Kadir. Okay, he's a Panamanian playing in Brazil. That number there is not an error, guys. That's what he's valued at right now, which means he'll probably go for about 70 million when it's all said and done. But just look this guy up.
18-year-old Panamanian.
A beast. Let me tell you what, he is putting in some goals that are the guy's a beast. He's big, he's powerful, strong, he's fast. He's got everything that they're in cup soccer, in club soccer around the world. You look at different countries and you look at people, the way they're built. Lionel Messi, arguably one of the greatest players to ever play the game. He never went and played in England. There's a reason for that. I don't think he could have been as successful in England. That English soccer is rough. You run constantly up and down the field, and he may not have done so good there. This guy is built for England. This guy is a beast, man. He's like a linebacker or a fullback.
If you guys follow football, remember Tebow Samuel?
Yes,
that's what he's like. Like Tebow.
He's exactly. He is that guy there.
Fast, built, strong.
He will, and if he's got his back to the goal, and you want to try and almost like in basketball, post him up, he will manhandle you. He's that good of a player. He's valued at that money there. So keep an eye on him. He could have a great World Cup and suddenly be just a record-breaking.
Yeah, he's on the team. They put him on.
Yeah.
You've
seen that in World Cups before. You've seen these players that are coming into their own, playing a lot of times in South America or something where they haven't been really discovered yet. And they come into the World Cup and the whole world's like, who the hell is this guy? And next thing you know, every team in Europe is lining up to sign him, man. And so
Panama has 2 players like that. This young man and the guy from France. Not Mosquera. Mosquera is the goalkeeper who plays in Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot the other name, but he's one of the top scorers in the French league.
Yeah,
so
indeed.
Keep an eye on Panama, guys. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I'm excited for it. It's going to be a great World Cup. Years ago, I beating Panama and Messi. That's awesome.
Pele, I'm sure you meant Pele.
Yeah, no, Pele and this is the last World Cup for Messi and for Ronaldo. So, again, one of those that you don't want to miss. It's going to be a
legends. Yeah, Messi's a legend,
and it's being played here in Mexico, the U.S., and Canada. So great venues. The best part about it is it's in our local time zones. So we're not worried about games at 3 a.m. or 6 a.m. or whatever it is. They're played at our local time. So if you can't make it, at least you'll definitely catch them on TV. So,
well, Willie, since we're talking about teams, one of the things that David talked about was all the players behind the scenes that were maneuvering to get these Panama Canal treaties signed in 1903. Right.
Yes.
And that's really what it was all about, all the behind. So speaking of teams, I put together a list of Team Panama, Team USA, Team Colombia Panama. Right. And then, of course, there was the wild card team, the liberal fighters from the 1,000-day war.
Sure. Yeah, that was interesting how all that came about,
we loved it. Well, guys, Team Panama was let's begin with who started this whole thing was BV, right? Bonavaria.
And what did you refer to him as, Ricky? You called him something that stirred some real thinking and really makes sense. This guy, what did you refer to him as?
That's kind of an intelligent thing I said. I can't remember.
Refer to him as the father of the Canal Zone.
Oh yes. Well,
Nobody fought harder for the Canal Zone and the canal than Bonaventura.
And a second gentleman, and his name is Cromwell.
Yes.
Cromwell, and this is what we learned. Cromwell, who was a lobbyist, and Bonaventura, these guys were the two most responsible people to convince the Senate in 1902 to go with Panama with that Spooner Act.
Right.
So that's how all this whole thing started, with Cromwell and Bonaventura.
Remember, there was a lot of moving pieces.
But that's team corporation, because remember, they didn't represent France. France had nothing to do with this, the government.
Nothing at all. That's a really interesting point you bring up. And you mentioned that earlier, Ricky, that, this was a monumental undertaking. It involved countries forming new countries, navies being deployed, armies being deployed, all kinds of things. In fact, the United States, when the Canal Zone on May 4th, acquisition day, it just happened to be the guy that's like, who, me? And next thing you know, this lieutenant is now the one that's receiving the keys to the newly formed Canal Zone. But yet, with all these government entities, the one player that started it all was not there at all, and that was France. That's fascinating that they were not in the picture at all. At all.
Until today, they're not in the picture.
Yeah.
I mean, they're helping out with the train because they don't want to be left out again.
Right.
That's amazing.
Stuff,
yeah. So that's one team. Bonaventura and his brother Cromwell in the U as a lobbyist. Team USA, guys. Team USA back then was the railroads, the Marines, who were there to protect the railroads, of course, Cromwell, and, the Secretary of State, John Hay, and this other lobbyist by the name of Bigelow, but there were way smaller roles. So I was Team USA. Team Colombia, but Panama were two big names.
Yeah, there was no Panama. Remember that, guys.
Yeah, there was no Panama. The general who was in charge of Colombia's military there, his name was General Esteban Huertas. He quickly switched over to when they announced with the Panamanian.
He knew what was going to happen.
He quickly switched over and sided with the Team Panama and the governor Ovaldia.
Yes,
and his great grandson. He's the one that wrote the play 1903, which I recommend to everybody if you can see it somehow. Yeah. Find it because it's well done. One of our guests and one of our audience guy that always goes to our shows. Our regular is always talking about those guys, and he's also in the 1903 show.
Yeah, HB Toohey was the star. HB
of that Toohey, yeah,
he played the role of that the railroad icon, which was who? Shaler,
yeah, he played the Shaler. Yeah, Shaler, big Shaler. Willie Shaler paid off the Colombian army not to go and fight. They paid $50 out of his own pocket. Yes. Out of the railroad money, he went and got it and paid these guys off. And as you can see, the bribery by Colombian soldiers, Colon, $50 each.
There was a lot of individual acts.
Correct, that brought it all to
this entire saga. The way
so you had
like that, these guys are paying out of pocket. These guys are making phone calls here and there, or I guess telegrams, because you don't really pick up a phone back then and dial it. But
yeah,
it was even to the point of Amador going to Jamaica to throw the Colombians off his trail before he takes a ship up to New York, and yeah, it was fascinating.
Fascinating. So we're talking about the 5 teams involved to make this happen. So you guys already know Team USA, Team Colombia, Panama, the two biggest people there, the general and the governor.
They just had a bunch of free agents.
And then Team Buenaventura. Team Panama was known as, it had 2 components. Team Panama was known as La Junta Revolucionaria. And Jose Agustin Arango was the leader of that. And his special agent, which is what the same terminology was used for Buenaventura, was Amador Guerrero, who later became Panama's first president from 1903 to 1909. So those were the big start of the canal digging. Guerrero was the president. Well, he was the first special agent because remember, the Panamanian component was always trying to get out of separate from Colombia. They're always trying that. They tried 53 times before. So they already had they're players in.
Well, and remember, guys, the 1,000 Years' War had just ended, and as that war progressed, it was liberals versus conservatives. The liberals kind of got driven into Panama, so that was kind of their enclave anyway. So there was always that anti-Colombian or anti-establishment mindset in the province of Panama, where you had these people that already always had that sense of wanting some independence and to hell with you guys. And then as Ricky's going to talk about here with that vote by the Colombian Senate that really put the ball in motion here,
Yeah. The Hey-Haran treaties. So the Panamanians, they try to do their own deals without Buenaventura. They did. Buenaventura was, Panama had other ideas because Buenaventura had everything in line. He had the railroad in line. He already saw that the U.S. will obey their treaties. They had a treaty to protect the railroad, and when this guy burnt down Colón, the Marines honored that treaty and attacked. So the Marines had already attacked Panama.
Yeah, that was back in 1885, and Dave showed us that earlier in the month. That was one of the big deals.
That guy.
That city got burned down.
Yeah.
But again, Buenaventura put that in his back pocket and said, "Hey, that's precedence for doing
right.
this again."
So they will defend a treaty, right? So he knew he had but what he didn't have was the Junta Revolucionaria. He still didn't have those guys. Those guys were still trying to do their own deals.
You need a government that is going to play ball.
Yeah, and then they sent Amador Guerrero, to go negotiate a treaty with the U.S. and the banks, but the U.S. government didn't. They knew that he was being watched, so they didn't really attend to him.
Yeah,
but Wall Street.
Yeah,
correct. Wall Street did attend to him and gave him the backing. So now Buenaventura knew they had the backing. They had presidents on the U.S. on the Marines, acting on a treaty. So he was ready. So that's when he made according to the story we got, was able to. I still don't remember how he got the Panamanians on his side. But he was able to get the Panamanians on this side, and then the Panamanians agreed to have, instead of Amador Guerrero, since the U.S. government wasn't attending to him, they were going to have Buenaventura as their special.
How he got him on his side was that volcano in Managua.
Well,
because they realized, hey guys, we have a very small window to become independent, and that's all contingent upon Americans coming here to build a canal, or we're screwed. And so as soon as word got out that, hey, there's a Managua option there, guess what? People in Panama said, we better act now because our window is getting ready to shut and we were going to be Colombians for the rest of our lives. That's what happened there, I guarantee you.
Yep.
Because they say that he's the one that went around and planted that seed of that volcano being so dangerous, when it turns out that the volcano was nowhere near the canal route. But as we learned from Dave also, in around that time, a big volcano exploded in St. Lucia that killed tens of thousands. And so that was enough. You had limited news coverage back then. So you could throw a story out there that the entire population would buy into, and that created the narrative of importance.
And that was the guy Bigelow, the journalist Bigelow, that promoted that. And that's how he helped out in a small way with the canal being.
Sure, that's the way to vote, because the United States at that point was ready to go to Nicaragua. They were ready to build that canal there, and Buenaventura, regardless of what his reasoning was, because obviously most of us agree that his reasoning was personal financial gain.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you know what? Knock yourself out, man. It's like Michael Jordan wanting to play for all that money, but if he brings your city championship, you're happy as hell about it, right? And so this guy, regardless of what he was doing, he was bringing Panama a country, and he was bringing the United States a canal. So
and we also learned, Willie, before he brought the United States into the deal, he tried to get the Russians to take over.
Yes,
so all that was going on. The czars and all those guys were behind this whole thing. And the czars said, if France, the government of France gets behind this, and then they would have gone and taken the deal. So we had an opportunity to be French-Russian. before we were even Panamanians. So wow, I mean that could have gone that way. You know, the Junta Revolucionaria would have had to go. What? Now we're fighting the Russians.
Zonians could have been Russians. Who knows what we could have been, man.
So guys, it's like everything else. It was magical how this all came together with a little buying off, little bribery.
What they said back in the day about the United States and their history, that manifest destiny. This was meant to be. It was meant to happen this way, and I'm not complaining about it one iota. You know,
it all came together magically, and just
exactly the way.
So here we are today with an.
Well, Ricky, again, it's very hard to dispute your assertion that Buenavarilla is the father of the Canal Zone. Yeah. He brought the Canal Zone. He stayed with it, no matter how many times the door was slammed in his face. I mean, at one point he was broke, right? He went down to Panama as an engineer initially.
And you know, he had to make what they call, you know, corporate decisions, you know, like letting the U.S. change the terms a little bit from the original. And, you know, a lot of people are upset about that, but, you know, that's what it took
to. You don't get a country with it because I'm telling you, the United States was 1 foot in the door in Nicaragua already. Yeah, they were ready to start that over there, and once
correct.
they did, forget it. There's no turning back.
And they had the funding too. They had that $50 million funding.
It's a miracle it happened this way.
Yeah,
thank God.
And then
I'm much better being Panamanian American than Nicaraguan American. No offense.
So the four team, there was actually 5 teams. The first team, Junta Revolucionaria. Second team, Team USA. Third team, Team Colombia, Panama. Fourth team is, like Willie mentioned, the Liberals. That helped out as well. They helped mostly by spreading out the Colombian army and, you know, having to fight them, but mostly up by on the Atlantic coast.
In general, in that region, it was really easy for even people like you said. You know, when we talk about, for example, Shaler taking his own money or money from the railroad to pay these guys off. Well, you know, it's probably not like this guy himself walked around with a bag of money and looking at soldiers and paying them. He probably had some help, but the locals were more than willing to, because deep down inside, most of these guys were anti-establishment to the Colombians in Bogota. So, you know, if someone says, "Hey, can you help me do this?" and it's going to stop these Colombian soldiers, they're like, "Yeah, hell yeah, I'll help you out any way I can." These guys threw me out of Cartagena 10 years ago. You know, so
yeah, and with them there was also a very liberal civilian class as well that helped out, and those were the bankers, the lawyers, and the journalists.
Well, the merchant class in Panama was huge for many years, because you think about this, you've had a merchant class in Panama since the 1500s,
and they had to play both sides. They had to play Colombia, the U.S., the French. They had to play every side till today.
Merchant family class, and you're part of that
till today, Willie.
And you go back to the 1895, 1900, and all of a sudden there's talk of a canal being built in Nicaragua, and you realize that, hey, Panama as a center of importance is going to cease.
Correct.
If that canal is built.
The railroad, which was the most the richest entity at the time,
correct,
they were going to lose it.
So we realized that the Panama Canal proved that the Panama Railroad was great to support the canal, but once the canal was built, the road became almost obsolete.
Yeah, man, what a show that was!
That was a great show. It was a
greatest show to learn about all those behind the scenes going on.
Absolutely, because
you know the story we get is so watered down from what really went on. You know, like the liberal side and the Team Colombia side, and
so small but yet so important, right?
Yeah,
it's almost like in World War II, you had like the Battle of Midway, turning point in the Pacific, small war, small battle, but major implications. Right? Same thing here. You have some small players, but major implications in global commerce for the next 150 years.
You know what? And it hasn't changed. But Panama today has to play so many different sides, and they still do a phenomenal job, which Jose Agustin Arango did back in the day. Yeah. You know, maneuvering. You know, the French, the Colombians, the Americans,
the new locks and everything. It just, I mean, they
amazing,
have not looked
man.
Back. That metro, that subway is just fantastic. What Panama's doing.
Cheers, Wood. I've got the chills talking about this, man.
A great 2025 for the Republic of
Right.
Panama.
Oh, great story, man.
And so, yeah, but that was a lot of fun. That was week 1 of our month of December. Again, as always, our first week is our history week, so we have some great stories there. Dave never fails to produce.
Never disappoints. Never.
knowledge for us there. Week 2, we had a change of schedule a little bit due to some scheduling factors, but we did our Canal Zone dictionary, and that one was kind of cool. It was
fun, man. I had so much fun. Everybody had fun that night.
They do. I mean, that one always it's always fun how that we think we know the zone, but we don't always know it as good as we think we do, but there was some interesting terms there. I think 440 was one of the terms that you mentioned there. And
440, yeah, 440.
440 again. Remind us what that was.
440 was an inexpensive AC system for Canal Zone cars. This is right around I would say, I guess the 40s, when air conditioning was first put in the cars, right? So they came up with the term 440 because most of the people in the Canal Zone couldn't afford, I guess, those expensive cars. So they would say it's a type of air conditioning for Zonians. And people say, well, what's 440? Well, it consists of 4 windows rolled down and traveling at 40 miles an hour. A sensible, poor system that everyone can afford.
Man, that's what you have to do. We run that light just to keep the air flowing.
Yeah.
Why'd you run that light? I said, man, it's hot in here, man. I got to keep the air flowing, man. I didn't want to stop, man.
Yeah.
That was 440. What was some of the other ones we talked about? The last one that I'll bring up was one that was a great recipe that we all talked about, and that was that was that Johnny Mazzetti. And now, do you remember again what was the sauce?
There was a special. I don't remember the name, but maybe you can remind us. What was that special sauce? You have to cook it with that sauce, otherwise it's not the Zonian version. Yeah. You got some gringo version going on if you don't use the sauce. What was that sauce? Will you still have it?
I know what it is off the top of my head. It starts with an A.
Oh, I don't remember.
It's a Spanish name.
Almejas. No, just kidding.
No, it's a Spanish name for a guy. It's a guy's name in Spanish.
I forget. Let's just do it.
Arturo sauce.
Oh, Arturo sauce. Right there. Yeah. It has to be Arturo sauce, otherwise it's not. So that's another word that we learned in another Canal Zone.
Yep. Look, hey, Steve's complimenting your hat there. Right on.
Yeah, I've been saving it for all these years. I never wear hats, and then tonight I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna wear a hat.
There you go.
Well, I'm in my 60s now, so all 60-year-olds are wearing hats and glasses.
That yarmulke back there, man. That's what that is. But Steve's in Florida, right? He's normally up in Atlanta, so he's in Florida here for the holidays. Good, Steve. We mentioned earlier that I forgot to respond to you last week. Great show. I think we had I want to say 100 and. In fact, you know what? I'll tell you right now how many views we had on that show. Bear with me here. It was. We had 82 on one channel. We had 42 on the other. And then on Facebook, we had quite a few, about 60 more. So we had over 150 views on that. And they'll pick up a lot more as we continue through the
talking about it. Yeah. For about a month, it always gets more Arturo. Yeah, you're right, Arturo.
As it is, absolutely. But now again, guys, Steve Tochterman, he was on our show last week along with Jesus Romero. They initially authored a book. They were on our show earlier in the year in April, and they were on our show talking about Fantasy of Flight, Queen of Air. Which is a great book about smuggling and drug smuggling. But really the crux of that book was about the whole fiasco that is the registration of aircraft in the United States and how they were doing that and really just completely bypassing any kind of logical security. It turns out that takes more to buy a case of beer than it does to register an airplane. You need a sheet of paper and $5 and that's it.
Yeah, one of the things that caught my attention was the Venezuelans. The way the government makes money is they allow the drugs in, then they allow the airplanes to ship it out, but if you don't pay the tax, you're getting shot down.
Yes. And it was interesting because of all the news about, the narco boats getting blown up, but no word about Venezuela shooting that
up. Yeah, you didn't pay the tax, or you paid, like, if it was $50 and you paid $45, you're coming down with the SAM.
I mean, think about who you're dealing with. You're talking to drug smugglers. These guys aren't exactly on the up and up. Right. So it's not a stretch to think that one of these guys is like, to hell with that. I'm going to fly it anyway. They're not going to catch me.
I'm sure that happens all the time. Yeah. They're never going to find me.
But Venezuela, regardless of where they're at right now, as far as economic status goes, because of sanctions and all that, socialism and all that. But, Venezuela, not too long ago was one of the wealthiest countries in the world. They have a
Wow,
ton
yeah.
of oil. They are very, not just an oil country, but they have a vast resource of oil. And so, they had a very modern military. I mean, Venezuela was one of the few countries that flew F-16s back in the day. So
They still have them.
yeah, they still do. So, it's not a joke. I mean, granted, if there ends up being any kind of conflict, I'm not all that concerned. I mean, people were concerned about Iraq, and we had them surrendering to CNN journalists. So, but the truth is, when it comes to a military like that and their capabilities against the drug smugglers and all that kind of stuff, they're shooting them down all the time if they don't pay to play ball.
Yeah, I learned that. I was like, all right,
that was
okay,
interesting
cool.
to say that. And then, of course, we transition then to what's more current today because of all that stuff. And part of it, these guys were very humble and not wanting to take credit for, exposing a lot of stuff. But I think their book really did bring a lot of that stuff to light, and there was documentaries put out about that as well. And so I think a lot of the air corridor has started to being shut down. And so they've transitioned to a different methodology, which is these narco boats, these narco submarines, as you can see on the diagram there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting to see where that's going to and how that's been evolving, where, like Jesus said, Jesus is a retired commander in the Navy. He was naval intelligence. And one of the problems they had was these guys, they get arrested, they get caught, they get tried, they get convicted. Now they're in the United States, they get in prison. And when they get out, they know some more tricks. They go back and they do it again. It's a revolving door. Nothing's going to stop them. In fact, during that time, they're probably in better living conditions than they have when they're at home. And so, nothing is changing there. But, we look at it, we tend to look at drug smuggling as, it's just another scourge, another crime or whatever. But the truth is, the drug smuggling that we're talking about here was something that was instituted by Chavez when he was the dictator before he died and Maduro took over. And this is a purposeful attack on the United States. And they have said so themselves, the Venezuelan government, that we are poisoning America and we are going to send these people there to attack them with poison instead of guns. So, again, the argument here, not to get into politics, but there's a reason why we're attacking these guys the way we are, because they are coming after us. They get in, they get slapped on the wrist, they get back out. There's enough poor people, enough money in the drug trade that you're always going to find someone else to jump in that boat. Okay, so the way you're going to stop that is when these guys know that they're not just going to get arrested, they're going to get blown up. Now you're either going to have to pay them more money, or you're going to have less of them stepping up to make that mission. So it's a necessary evil that we have, but we learned a lot of things here about what's going on with all of this operation, where it's evolving to, and it's really compelling, especially with what we have going on right now in the world and with Venezuela. It's, who knows if in the next week or so we're at war with Venezuela. I mean, it's certainly leaning in that direction. I hope that the pressure continues to build enough that this guy says, I'm getting the hell out of here.
And look at that, 120 metric tons, right? In all those years, is that what,
5 years?
5 years. Panama alone this year has confiscated over 30 tons.
Right.
Metric tons of cocaine. So, yeah, they're doing it's a big number what they're doing to that. And
it is. And a lot of people worry about what Ricky mentioned earlier, with Mercosur and having that membership, not the membership in itself, because that I think is just a wonderful news for Panama, but because you're going to open up more trade with South America, there's only one way in and out, and that's through that Darien corridor, which they're now, of course, expanding. And as you know, when you start giving more access to a country, it's not just the trucks with food and trade materials that are going through there. It's the smugglers as well and everybody else. So,
anything else.
It's going to be interesting how those borders are handled now and how they man those places. I mean, hell, remember,
it's kind of sad because the D gap has always protected us. Always. We've always felt protected in Panama.
It's almost a badge of honor. We've got one of the toughest places in the world. Now it's like, nah, dude, it's another.
Yeah, all those immigrants were like,
yeah, they showed us how bad that was, didn't they?
I had this conversation with one of my stateside friends, and I was trying to explain to him, like how we were just scared of that area. You would get eaten by the locals, and it was just impregnable. And jeez, that whole thing is gone now, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it is. But that's progress, right? It's all part of the gig there. Yeah,
again,
that was
Mr. Tuckerman. Thank you so much.
It was. Well, this is all based on your information. There's an interesting program out there I'm using now, an AI program called Notebook LM. Wonderful research tool. And all I did was took the URL to this show last week, the YouTube URL.
Willie's getting talented, guys. But you know what? It's all thanks to you guys. You guys help fund all this stuff.
Yes,
so everything you see is things that you guys are funding for us.
Absolutely.
So the more you fund, the more the show gets like this. Not technical, but up to date.
I took the YouTube, the URL for last week's show, and I plugged it into Notebook LM, and it came back, and it drew up this infographic for me and everything. I didn't prompt any of it. I just said.
And Willie and I were having fun. This is not the first one. We were having so much fun.
Yeah.
The different ones of these popping up, but this was the best one.
When it had like a nuclear submarine, I'm thinking, no, they ain't using that shit. It's not quite that sophisticated.
Yeah.
But, that was really cool. And but again, thanks to you, Steve and Jesus, for providing us all that great information, and it was so relevant.
Really, God, thanks everybody.
So on point, with what's going on now. So
this show is truly everybody. Willie and I are just chit-chatting what you guys teach us. But it's such a community show, Willie, man. Really 2 years and we're going strong, man. It's
sure. And
guarantee we'll be here next year, guys.
That book, Final Flight, Queen of Air, you can see the website down there scrolling across.
Yeah.
Go ahead and reach out there, and you get a signed copy of it with free shipping. Final Flight, queenofair.com is a website. You can also message Steve at 470-757-6399. Poor guy's going to be getting calls all night now. But,
great
check
book.
it out, man. It's a great book. It's a great reading, and it's real stuff. And the cool thing about it, it was co-written by a Zonian. Actually, it was written by two Zonians, right? Because as we've learned,
an adopted one and a
well, he wasn't adopted.
And a born one.
His dad was stationed down there, right? And then he's
we adopted him. He's one of ours.
Yeah, we are now the authority on who's Zonian. We have the Zonian passport office now. So that's what we need to do, Ricky. Is create a Zonian passport. There you go.
A Zonian passport. Yes.
Yeah, that was cool. It was a good show. It was an interesting show, an interesting current events dynamic. Most of our shows tend to go, back in time to the nostalgia of the zone, but this is close to home. It reaches close to home. There's, military keeps making more inroads back into Panama again, as we've seen over the last probably 6 or 8 months, and that continues now. So,
Willie, the same exact conditions that were there in 1989 that caused the invasion of Panama, same exact conditions are there in Venezuela. I mean, to the T,
everything about it. The players there, the causes, the reasons, the rhetoric, the buildup. I mean, it's just cause 2.0.
Correct.
It really is, and hopefully it turns out the same, and maybe less lives lost if it comes down to that. But the pressure's ratcheting up on this guy. There's even been rumors of Panama accepting him for
of him going to Panama. Yeah,
but it's
and he wouldn't be the first general that goes and retires in Panama. Remember the Haiti guys went there.
Oh, well, back in the day in 1979, the Iranian Revolution.
The Shah went there. That's right. No, there's been several that have gone down there.
Panama always plays. It's a big country for being such a small country. You know that. Panama
happens when you got the big brother there right next to you, and there's that relationship, man.
People tend to love you when you have such an important place, man, because you can screw my commerce up if you decide not to let my ships through there. So you got to play nice with Panama. They've got.
They have
the shortcut.
Yeah, well, we see other words that we learned. We learned the most venomous snake in Panama, the fer-de-lis.
The fer-de-lance.
Fer-de-lance?
Yes.
A reptile, most venomous snake, pit viper.
Snake. That fer-de-lance will go after you. That's not one of those. Most snakes are not aggressive in that sense. When they strike at you, it's because they feel like, hey, I got no choice. I either strike you or you're going to attack me.
Yep.
But the fer-de-lance, even when the danger's gone, they're like, the hell with that. I'm still pissed off at you. And you're running down the hill, and that shit will chase you, man. Fer-de-lance.
Yeah, it's got an X marking. So if you see an X on a snake, you better. I don't know what to tell you. You're in big trouble. And then the other two were the Barba Maria, for that, obviously a neck, yellow under his neck, and the third one, Terciopelo.
Right.
Those are the three. And Bushmaster didn't even make the list. I mean, guys, like I said, growing up as kids, we were scared of the Bushmaster.
That's what we always told. It had the notoriety, you know. It had that
Yeah.
that ring to it, Bushmaster. You know.
I think it's like there was like an army group in Clayton called the Bushmasters, or was it something like that as well?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a gun. I think is a Bushmaster. One of the rifles they call it a Bushmaster as well.
So legendary. That's not even the scary one.
It's got a ring to it, but you know the Furlance. Which is kind of a sissy name, but
yeah, sissy. Yeah. Barba Maria. You know, they just don't scare you.
Put these teeth
Terciopelo. Come on, that's not gonna scare anybody. Bushmaster.
No wonder the
and
snakes
he's probably the cupcake of the snake family.
All the other snakes laugh at it.
Bueno, Willie, man. Sorry, man. We're again going everywhere, man.
All good stuff, man. It's all part of the gig, man. It's good times here, good times in the Canal Zone, but you know it's holiday season, so you know it's the time of the year when we just talk about all kinds of crazy, nutty things here. You nailed it, Ricky. Yeah, I nailed it with something. And
sorry,
Ricky
we had this habit at the end. I start getting. I want to start touching things. All right, I'm just gonna keep my hands like this.
He does, man. He just can't stand it like a little kid. It's like that sign, "Do not touch." Oh boy.
Yeah. I want to click everything that's popped up because there's so many things to.
Yes.
Yeah. If you look at our platform, our screen, whatever, there's a ton of little things to touch.
Yes, and Ricky's got to touch every one of them. Every last one whenever he can. Good to see you there, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
You from the Canal Zone, right on.
Chris had a birthday just the other day. Happy birthday, Mr. Chris. He's all 32 years old now.
Yeah, absolutely. So, no, that's exciting, man. Good for you, Chris, and safe travels on your way back to.
Safe travels, my good
get
friend.
there as well. So, but no, listen. Again, it's the holiday week, so things are a little bit crazier schedule-wise and stuff. People are busy doing things, and again, it's just a quick recap show. But next week, don't forget, it's the beginning of the new year, right? It'll be January 2nd. So
we start birthdays again next week.
Yeah,
so if you got birthdays, let us know. We're going to be promoting our birthdays back by popular demand. People have been requesting it, so we're bringing it back. And Willie and I have our sources of where to find birthdays, but are not completely. So if anybody out there wants us to know, wants to throw out a birthday, let us know. Email us or post it or any way you want.
It's always fun to do that.
Starting next week, we'll do our birthday again.
We haven't had that Murga song in a while.
The La Murga and the celebration. And
that's fun.
Because I guess it's important, Willie, for the world to know in history who the Zonians were by name. And in birthdays, people will know by name and when they were born.
Listen, it's part of the Zonian culture, okay? And I'm dead serious when I say that, in the sense that when you go to the reunion in Orlando, right? And I've experienced this so many times at that reunion. You're sitting somewhere or you're in an elevator with a non-Zonian that happens to be staying at that hotel, and they see that you've got your hanging tag or whatever with your name on it in the Panama Canal and all that good stuff, and it's always the same conversation. Who are you guys, man? You guys, they see something special in this group, right? They see this community. They see it really is unique. And so, to other people, they're like, dude, you're running a quote unquote public show and you're mentioning birthdays. And who the hell knows these people's birthday? We know, okay? We all know there's so many people jump in and celebrate the birthdays. It never fails when we do the birthdays. You mention one or two of those names, and next 3 or 4 chats go, oh, hey, Bobby, happy birthday. Hey, Bobby, happy birthday. It never fails, right? And that's part of the Zonian culture that makes us different than others. There's other U.S. territories that were probably out there. I'm sure there's a Guam association that's wonderful. I'm sure I'll
tell you something else that's very Zonian. If you miss more than 2 days of school, remember, all our teachers would get us to write you a little card, get well. Right. That's another thing about the Zonian community. I still have a few that my mom saved from back in the day.
It was a very family, community type setup. Always has been. And that's what the show is. So we have fun doing it. Ricky and I were, as we started tinkering things, that was one of the ones that we tinkered with. But over time, we've been like, we both miss this, man. And I don't think either one of us wanted to bring it up, but we both are like, man, we do miss this. Yeah, let's do it again. So,
well, we got a few people asked us why we weren't doing it, so we thought we brought it back. So I think it's a good thing. The Canal Zone Museum, which is becoming world renowned now, both Forbes and TripAdvisor are promoting it as a have to go. Maybe if anybody's been there, tell us what you see, or how are they portraying the Zonian? Because normally Zonians are not portrayed in our best. Like the latest that guy Harris, his documentary on the Canal Zone, he had an opportunity to say something positive about the Zonians, and he didn't. And so that kind of upsets us.
Yeah, it does, man.
So we need to get that voice out there that explain to people who we really are. And we are definitely not what we're being portrayed as worldwide.
No, it's up to us to do it, and up to us to put out a more positive message, and even in a little
putting
way,
names to that now. Who we were.
Absolutely. So,
all right.
But anyway, listen, it was a great show tonight, guys. A lot of good things. It was a great month. December is always a fun month. It's a lot of things going on, but the Canal Zone and that story still must go on, and we love to be able to tell that story here every Friday night. A lot of cool things going on there. But 2025, as far as Happy Hour at the Balboa Yacht Club, has now come and gone. Next week we'll be on the air in 2026. Everything else will be kind of the same, but a whole new year, a lot of exciting things going on, as we started chatting about some really cool guests that we have in the works there. But of course, beginning of the month, we always have our very cool guest, Dave Dahlstrom, joining us. So we're going to get some Canal Zone history there. Looking forward to some Ted Henter, some Jim Bradley, some other stuff in the future.
Lance Miskalski.
Yeah, so a lot of good stuff in the works, guys. But right now we're just looking at what we got going on next week, and we'll look forward to that. But before that show, of course, everybody have yourself a wonderful, safe, and prosperous Happy New Year.
New Year's.
Enjoy yourselves. Let us know what you have going on there. But in the meantime, our red bus is behind me telling me to shut up, and Ricky, get us.
Hey, Ricky, take my advice. That little Shiva going across. That's our cue. Guys, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We love you very much. We love doing this show. We'll see you next week. Thank you.
Cheers, everybody. Salud. Happy New Year.